In this video, I'm putting a 1999 Audi TT through its paces. Do they come in any colour other than silver? I'm just saying. So yeah, it's the Audi TT. Sitting here on the PQ34 platform that was shared with the Volkswagen Golf Mark IV, Volkswagen Beetle, Skoda Octavia, Seat Toledo and Leon, and Audi A3. It is the fourth generation Volkswagen platform, effectively, from if you count the Volkswagen Golf as A1. This is effectively A4, but they changed the naming because obviously calling it the A4 platform when the A3 was based on it was a bit silly. But yeah, a concept first seen in the mid-90s, entered production in 1998, so this is a fairly early one, and you'll notice it hasn't got the rear spoiler. There was a recall done on the TT in the very early days. It all went a bit wrong for them. Tales of cars losing the back end quite spectacularly, which probably had more to do with people not being able to bloody drive than anything, lift off oversteer. So there was a factory recall that added electronic stability program, which this has, and some rear suspension tweaks, which it probably has, and the rear spoiler, which this one doesn't. It seems the owner said, no thank you, I do not want the spoiler, which I think is a good move because I think it really cleans up the lines. You'll note the TT is a hatchback. I don't know if there's an external latch, so I can show you that there isn't, so I can't, but we will investigate the boot in all good time. Technically a 2+2, but you're not going to be sitting in the back. Yeah, very distinctive styling. This sort of, the rear lights designed to very much match the front ones, so it's got a bit of a push me pull you sort of a shape to it. Very distinctive. These sculpted headlamps in there, a key feature. Hello. And of course, I think this was the first transverse Audi to have the famous Quattro badge. I could be wrong in that. Don't necessarily hold me to it, but that's my suspicion. We shall look at the power plant, what we can see of it, for this is a modern car. Notice as I open the door handle, the windows just drop slightly. To clear this window seal, we shall pull the bonnet release thusly, close, and up goes the window. Very common on modern stuff with frameless doors. And somewhere here will be a catch, and there isn't an engine. If you want to see what the engine of one of these looks like, go and follow Sarah Untuned. Sarah, capital N, and then tuned. She's working on one of these and it looks horrible. There has been many swears, which thankfully she does edit out, but yeah, pig to work on. She's had to replace the turbo, and yeah, the turbo's down the back somewhere down there. I can't even get you in, even on this tiny little camera, but believe me, there is a turbo down there. 5 valve heads, so 3 inlet, 2 exhaust, and turbocharged. This is the 225, which is 225 PS or 222 brake horsepower. But yeah, there's not much point staying here. We can't see anything really. Clank. Let's go and check the boot now. We shall briefly step aboard because I need to slide that cover forward and press that button. There are many hidey holes on a TT, it turns out. So here we go. There is a parcel shelf integrated into the hatch, which lifts up, and then you've got a boot, and the seats fold down sort of very badly. If you've got the seats set like that, you have to apparently move the seats forward to fold them. That's pretty terrible. Don't buy a TT if you're after practical, but nonetheless a hatchback makes this space more useful than it otherwise would be, although you have to be careful not to smack the rear passengers on the head. Not that I think you'd have any, to be honest. And no rear wiper. They've obviously gone for the same clean lines as the concept car. I think that is an oversight, but I do quite like this funky fuel flap. I might have to go and press the button on that just for the sake of pressing buttons. Fuel flap, there we go. Oh, there we go, up it has popped. Oh, so I say it almost looks like metal, but I can feel it isn't. So that's how we do that. And your tyre pressures and all sorts. That is quite nice, feels quite nicely engineered. Just taking the door pockets, got a Bose stereo system. I like the electric window switches, which are hidden here, drivers and passengers. Electric mirror control, like to set it in the middle, and little nets here for holding a bit more cargo, but I can't say the interior is the most exciting place. You can see why there will be no sitting in the rear seat today. There is no legroom at all. So let's hop aboard. It's a bit of a climb down to get in, but once you're here, it's a fairly stylish space. But like I say, lots hidden. So in here we've got a little ashtray, cigarette lighter. Cigarette lighter's hiding in there because I've been using it for power. Along here we've got boot, fuel release, and deactivate the interior if you've got a particularly crazy dog. The stereo lives under this one. Audi concert. It looks quite funky. I've not listened to it, I'm afraid. I've got heated seats, the electric stability program, which became standard on the TT once people started crashing them, indicators. Yeah, very, very smart, very functional, very Volkswagen. Heated rear window and another heated seat. Down here, digital climate control, as you'd expect. Down here you've got these sort of bracing bars and this very hard plastic covering. I don't like that. I've found when I was pushing on a bit earlier, because I've had some time to really put this car through its paces and leave my wires hanging around all over the place. My leg was effectively bracing against this hard plastic, and I don't like it at all. It's just a bit too tight, and yeah, I didn't like it. A very similar feeling in the e-Golf I drove, where the center console was very wide and I found my leg was resting on it and not very comfortably. So that's fail points. This little armrest is a bit of a pain as well, because generally it gets in the way. It's either up there where you keep catching your elbow on it, it's really hard, or it's down here getting in the way of the seatbelt and the handbrake. Gear lever is I don't like it. It's very clunky. I mean, it's very easy to find the right gear. It's push down and get into reverse, so you can't accidentally go into reverse. Yeah, it's not all that joyous to use, if I'm honest. There is a glove box. It's got previous regos in it. It's all good. But yeah, not nicely finished, but all a bit bland, especially in this grey leather. I mean, I don't understand leather seats in cars generally, really, but in a sporty car, leather is the last thing you want. The bolsters are pretty good, but yeah, you are fighting the forces of gravity somewhat. Nice attractive binnacle ahead, column stalks exactly as you'd expect in a Volkswagen Audi group car. Yeah, all functions as it should. Lights on a little control down here, which lights up the interior quite nicely. People have been asking for that shot, and it's been too sunny here to generally show you what the lights look like, but very good. I can even test the interior lights. Is that oh yes, we've got map reading, and I don't know what that one's meant to do, but yeah, map reading lights, all the good, very handy things. So yeah, it's a nice comfortable place to sit, nice driving position, somewhere to rest my foot, and yes, I am driving barefoot at the moment, can't be doing with wearing my sandals. Yeah, it's all the good. We should probably start the engine. Speaking in a German accent isn't essential, and actually these cars were assembled in Hungary, so isn't even correct. Put the lights on, just because it's getting a bit gloomy out there, and we shall do a wiper test. Oh, I can hear the headlights kicking in as well. Unfortunately, I can't demonstrate that because I need someone to hold the camera out there. The blades are old, the owner has apologised for that. Good overlap, no triangle of doom. But yeah, did you notice that curvy passenger wiper blade? What's that all about? That isn't the effect of the action cam, it is a curved screen. Comes reasonably close to the edge of the screen, but yeah, no rear wiper. All of the sads. Yeah, no one else does that when driving an Audi TT, do they? Right, one other thing I will mention is it feels very hemmed in. Look how shallow the side windows are. And if you're trying to appreciate the scenery, you know, there's nice scenery down there, but you kind of have to get down to look at it. So driving around New Zealand, not the best. There are fixed quarter lights just to allow the window to drop fully, but otherwise, yeah, so much so not necessarily exciting. Oh, there's the aircon. So 6-speed gearbox, 225 horsepower, Haldex 4-wheel drive system, so it is a quattro, so traction shouldn't be a problem, which is good because it's trying to rain. And there is a mist function. I'll get you set up and we can get on the move. Let's get out on the road and see what this thing can do. Oh, Ford Focus, that's an unusual sight here. It's quick. It doesn't really sound it. You can hear mild turbo noises, but it's not exactly grrr. I think Audi got the balance a bit wrong with this car. They obviously wanted to make it good and capable, but they seem to have gone a bit too far towards Grand Tourer. And while the performance is strong and the handling is good, it's not necessarily exciting as a car to drive. I mean, the steering weighs up quite nicely, but it's all a bit too refined, apart from the ride, which I find a bit crashy. Very low profile tyres. It's a good torquey engine. We're in 6th gear at the moment. That was me accelerating uphill. So it doesn't necessarily feel like a turbocharged engine. The power comes in smoothly. It's quite well behaved off boost. Yeah, it's all generally a bit too well behaved. And I'm going to stop because otherwise we're just going to be stuck behind camper vans, and frankly there is no point. There is no enjoyment to be had there. So we shall pause for the moment and take in some of our surroundings. But it's a very comfortable driving position. Very well set. The pedals are all straight. Nice position on the clutch. The wheel falls nicely to hand. I presume you can adjust the height. You can, but that's actually really good. And visibility isn't bad given how narrow the side windows are. They're definitely not set for high visibility, but we'll see if we've generated enough space, because the last thing I want to do is wait long enough to get held up by someone else. So because there's 6 speeds, they can be stacked quite close. The grip is good, traction is good because it's 4-wheel drive. But somehow it doesn't feel raw. I think that's what's lacking. They've engineered all the raw out of it, R-A-W rather than R-O-A-R, although actually I think both are true. The engine noise is not all that inspiring. I think they tried just a bit too hard to go for refinement, really, which maybe is what buyers actually want. And of course there's no torque steer because all 4 wheels are doing the driving. I don't know what the split is, but I suspect it's a heavy front bias with rears just doing a bit, but maybe it's actually a bit too grippy. Maybe that's the problem. We've already caught the camper vans up, and that's why it really feels like it corners hard, but yeah, it's somehow not exciting. It generates all of the G-force, and I've got my leg resting on this hard bit of plastic down here, and that camper van really should have pulled over then. But hey, not all camper van drivers are actually decent fellows, unfortunately. That's one down. I'm now chasing a Suzuki Swift. But yeah, Volkswagen really became masters of the platform share with the platform under this car. Does beg the question, did they ever build a Volkswagen Beetle 225 Quattro? That would have been quite exciting. But I mean, just for getting around as a car, it's fine, but as a sports car, it's just not quite there. Oh, that's a bit quick. Don't like braking mid-bend, but yeah, this car can carry some speed about, but I'm just a bit wary of the conditions. Because contrary to popular belief, four-wheel drive does not give you more grip. It doesn't make your car somehow anchor itself to the ground. What four-wheel drive does is give you traction. So you can come barreling into a really tight bend and floor it, and it'll pull away without wheel spinning, or pull away on a wet roundabout. I remember when I first got a Subaru Impreza, that's what amazed me, that there was no wheel spin. You just pulled away on a wet roundabout, away you went. I think there'll be too much scenery from the scenic spot today. But that was the summit. Maybe I'm being harsh on the noise. That is quite sporty a noise, maybe. So there you go, that was the Audi TT. I think those who know me won't be awfully surprised with my conclusion, but if you want a car that's first and foremost competent, and secondly quite quick and handles well enough, then it's a good buy. If you want something really sporty, then an MX-5 or something of that ilk will be much more fun, despite having less power. Fun isn't necessarily a power related figure. But anyway, I'm here in a lovely forest, quite close to where they filmed the Rivendell scenes in Lord of the Rings. So I'm just keeping an eye out for orcs and urukai, and hoping all will be well. But I shall say thank you very much even for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in a future video. Farewell. Oh, I must share this with you. Not only have I apparently got the boot open, but the year keeps changing. I thought we were up to date, or exactly 1 month ahead, but now it's 2001 again.